Thank the gentleman. Excellent line of questions. Gentlelady from California, Ms. Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Thompson, do you believe the European Union was formed to hurt America?
I do not.
Okay, I ask because the president publicly said yesterday that the European Union was formed in order to screw the United States, and even floated the idea of using military force to take Greenland from Denmark, a NATO ally, because we, quote, need it for national security. Those kinds of statements suggest a U.S. stance that our European allies and institutions are adversaries or fair game for coercion. In your view, do such positions reflect a coherent U.S. strategy toward Europe?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. What I would say is, as far as our approach to our allies and partners is one, first and foremost, of honesty. We want to be honest with our partners, and we also want to be honest about the fact that they need to step up. And that's what I was emphasizing in my testimony when I referenced the administration's priority to bring European and Canadian allies within NATO to 5%. And we've already seen great strides in that process, and then also have our European allies lead out, particularly on the future of security assistance to Ukraine. And I would also underscore that Denmark and our bilateral relationship with Denmark is certainly a part of that equation, and we want to have a robust security relationship there, particularly for the reasons that you identify as far as Greenland being critical to homeland defense, and we would share that view.
Okay, great. Well, it's good to know that our approach is about honesty. I guess I'm glad the president publicly, honestly said what he thinks about our European allies. Ms. Thompson, are you aware that Europe pays for 84% of NATO's infrastructure at U.S. bases, and that Poland is spending over $300 million annually to support U.S. troops directly?
I am certainly aware of Europe's contributions to NATO, for at least on the defense side. I know there's different streams of funding for defense contributions, or for NATO contributions on the state side as well.
Okay, and so how do you square that with calling them free riders?
So I think the commentary that I made, and then certainly that the administration has made, really stems from this chronic underspending of being under the 2% threshold. The Wales Pledge in 2014 was made in a security environment that was arguably a lot more secure than the security environment that we face today, certainly from the adversaries that the U.S. is facing. And I think from that perspective, there's rightly placed frustration in wanting our European allies to not only meet the spending commitment that they made in 2014, but also live up to the overarching Article 3 pledge of contributing to the collective security of the alliance, which includes defense spending. And I would also argue that the security environment that we face today, as bipartisan officials have recognized across administrations, 2% as a threshold for spending is no longer sufficient to meet the demands of the security environment, which is exactly why President Trump has set the target he set. And it's really, really encouraging, I have to say, for many of our allies to now be over the 2% threshold. We want to see those timelines get pulled to the left even further, and to see them make further progress. And I would also just take the opportunity to highlight the Eastern allies who are on track to meet 5% very, very soon.
Thank you. And General Cavoli, from a military standpoint, what is the impact on our operations and partnerships when our allies hear American leaders suggest that the EU was formed to screw us, or to entertain ideas of invading an ally's territory, or for calling them free riders when they are contributing a lot to supporting our troops? How does this affect trust and cohesion among our allies that we depend on for our collective security?
Ma'am, thanks for the question. Clearly, it strays well out of my lane, but I talk to all of the chiefs of defense in Europe all the time, and our military-to-military relationships remain quite strong and are very solid, ma'am.
Have President Trump's comments come up in any of your conversations with other military leaders?
Rarely.
But have they, in the context of Europe, in this being formed to screw them, or what the president is trying to do in Greenland?
Ma'am, it's rare enough that I'm searching to be sure to give you a complete and honest answer. I can't remember an instance of that off the top of my head. You know, military guys, we really try to stay carefully to the military construct and to the military lane, because it's not our job in any of the nations in NATO. So I can't think of an example off the top of my head. If I do think of one, I'll be sure to tell you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.